social media is a powerful tool and a helpful tool when used correctly. But come on, there's people out there that are using it incorrectly, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, social media is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. So I think the onus is on individuals to kind of understand at least the ways that this could be negative for them, and to try and have some positive things in place to make sure that it doesn't become negative. So for example, I don't really read comments on anything anymore because
Yeah.
I've been cancelled and hate mobbed so many times.
What's been your worst
People
comment?
furious. What's been the worst comment someone said to me?
Yeah, come on,
I
like on
literally
social
don't know.
media.
Like I like delete it all from my memory. I generally know, like, especially early on where you did sort of read the comments, you're, oh my god, they're so angry at me. I don't remember. All I remember is the one where I felt really that there was an injustice, because I wrote an article, and then, as you'll know this, the editor of that particular website changed the headline, and he just changed it because he probably thought he didn't understand the context of what I was talking about, and he thought that something would get more clicks, or maybe it just sounded better with his headline, so he changed the headline, got published, and people went absolutely wild about this headline. They felt that I had, like,
Yeah.
betrayed people.
What was the
They
headline?
were
Can you remember?
absolutely furious. I don't want to say what the headline was because then you'll be able to identify the publication. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But anyway, I really don't want to bring this back up. But it was wild, and people were really mad at me. And it was a really weird situation because I was kind of like, well, if I defend myself, then I've got to throw this publication under the bus that I really want to keep writing for. But if I don't say anything, then people are going to think that I thought that was okay. But like with all mobs, I think that eventually they calm down, and 20 minutes later they're going to be mad about something else. But there is an underlining thing of that because it builds up your reputation of how people see you. So even if people can't generally remember why they were mad at you, they'll still sort of remember you're on their radar as a baddie, not a goodie. So
Mm,
it can be harmful, but I just don't really listen to it. And I just kind of think, look, I've got so much going on in my life. If you are taking the time out of your day to be so angry with me and to be tweeting something abusive, like, I've already won, really. Because I would never even dream of that. I see things on social media all the time that I'm appalled by, but I would never think of, like, intervening, because what do they care what I think? Like, you just carry on.
I used to be exactly the same and be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I should reply to this, but people don't need to hear it sometimes. I think there's a time and a place. I remember I was promoting Gay Man Talking, and I went on Steph's Pack Lunch on Channel 4, and I did this really awkward wave where I just went like this. And I remember like reading online, like someone was just like, oh, someone said a really lovely comment about the book and said like, oh my God, this is going to help so many people. Thank you for it. And underneath, this guy who didn't have a photo put, yeah, but I bet it's in bed. And I was just like, wow, gosh, where did that come from?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things. So I just try and not read the stuff. I'm more of a, I'll post the things I need to post. I'll interact with the people I need to interact with, but I'm really not there to be made to feel bad about myself. And if I think what's really interesting, and I can't remember who talked about this, I think it might have been Joanna Lumley. Maybe. But anyway, someone was saying at some point, like, back in the old days, if you were annoyed with someone, like, say if, you watched something on the television when there were three channels and you were annoyed, you had to, write out a letter and say how annoyed you were. Like, put it in an envelope, find a stamp, find the address for it, walk to the post office and post that letter to that presenter or whatever it was. Which, by the time you get to the post office, 90% of people have been like, I've calmed down now. Doesn't really matter. But I think it's now so easy to just da 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 da, and you've typed it in the heat of the moment and press send. And send to the world, not just to one presenter you're angry at. You've pressed send to the world. I think it's almost a bit too quick to do it now, and I don't care to read someone's in the moment anger. So my thing is now, if you're really angry with something I've done, write it down, send a letter, put a stamp on, and I'll read it. But
Oh,
I'm not
that's
going to read anything
nice.
angry online.
When you couldn't like sort of reach someone quickly, I reckon your words were so much more considered and like you thought
Yeah,
about it a lot more and you didn't act out of that passion, which
yeah.
a lot of the time online is.
Which I think is better. Like, if people have had the time to be more considered in what they're saying and how they want to say things, they've ripped up the letter 3 times and written it out again because now they've really got a good mind on what they want to say. I think that that was a much better way to communicate. But here we are.